Well, originally it was going to be a money-saving mansion. That was a suggestion. But I was like, you can't have a money-saving mansion.
No.
So we made it a maisonette. What we're going to do is we're going to go around the home, all the different things in and around the home, and look at how you slash the bills. Today we'll be driving down the... Hey, you see what I did? Driving down the costs on car insurance, which is one of those
So in your
bills.
maisonette, we're in the garage.
We're in the garage, definitely.
So we've got £3,000, up to £3,000 a year. I mean, how on earth do people afford to pay it? It's
Well, they don't.
An extraordinary amount of money.
They don't, and you have to question whether you should. I mean, there are things that we can do, especially for young drivers, to cut the costs, and it would get quite radical, different types of policies. We're talking about some black box telematics policies that in a bit, that when you put in your car and they measure either how you drive or when you drive. So it's effectively pay-as-you-drive insurance, which is one of the ways. But there are lots of other things we can do first. Let me give you my 3 big rules to start. Rule number 1, do not just auto-renew your car insurance. That's effectively a fine... Holly...
I always do.
Well, you shouldn't.
Always.
Well, and what tends to happen is...
For years, probably
your price
since
just goes up and up and up each year when you do that. It's a fine for apathy. You're not playing the competitive market. I mean, we have people who tell us that their same insurer, for the same policy, when they go and try and find it cheaper, will charge them £300-400 less as a new customer. Now, it doesn't all... Yeah, the same policy. You're sitting there going, I don't want them to fight for my custom. I'll give you my custom. You're giving it away. You know, if you put it in, you're giving it away, my dear, and you don't want to give it away because nobody fights for it.
OK.
So, I mean, just savings from just checking around the market can be hundreds of pounds. Rule number 2, you were right. You spoke before about the EU gender equalisation law that hit on the 21st of December that basically said, from now on, men and women, all other things being equal, pay exactly the same for car insurance. Now, especially for younger drivers, the stereotypical boy racer used to pay a lot more than a young female driver.
For good reason.
For good reason. But the law says you can't do that. You cannot discriminate in any way, regardless of good or bad reason, and that now means...
Regardless of fact.
Yeah, regardless of fact. You can't. But then again, I mean...
That's Brussels for you.
Well, you can... should we allow what... if there were to be a racial difference on car insurance...
But that wouldn't be factually...
Well, it's done by statistical tables. If there were... Right, because some different urban areas and different demographics, would we allow that? Then it's a difficult one.
Yeah.
So what's happened
enough.
is young women's prices have gone zoop, up about £500 for 17, 18-year-olds. Young men's have come down. So actually, very good news for young men. If you've got any, and the really big thing to understand is that means since the 21st of December, especially for young drivers, but really for everybody, everything has changed. Your cheapest before may no longer be your cheapest now because the entire structure and predication of car insurance pricing has changed fundamentally on the 21st of December, which may even mean that if you're paying a lot right now because you got the price beforehand, it's worth checking the price now, even if you're not at renewal. Because if it's so much cheaper, what you could do is cancel your current policy and start a new one. Now, there would be some fees. As long as you've never claimed before, you would be able to do that, and you'd probably have to pay an administration fee of £50 and you'd lose this year's no claims bonus. But if it's £1,000 cheaper, you may want to go off and restart.
Yeah,
Kaylee Bird said, I'm now 25 this year. Will it affect my insurance going up? I've 7 years no claims this July. I'm concerned it's going to go up by hundreds. Will this be the case?
You're probably on the cusp, Hayley, of where it will get a little more expensive, but not too much. But each year you've been driving, because you're getting older, that brings your price down.